Hi, everyone. I'm also a virgin tonight, so I hope you enjoy the story. This is a story I haven't told in front of anyone before. So, once upon a time, let me get out of the way of the slides. Once upon a time, a Russian and an American decided to start a fashion company in Spain. The name of the company was going to be the Bambini Boom, and the concept was simple. We borrowed the model from Fab Kids in the US. Everything was exactly the same, essentially, except for we didn't have Christina Applegate as our face person. And also, we weren't selling American clothing to American moms. We were selling European marks to Russian mothers, cross-border. So we spotted a gap in the market, and we were going to seize it. We had lots of pretty slides that all pointed to dollar signs. So we went for it. We raised money from all professional investors. We contracted logistics through Germany. We secured relationships with Spanish, Portuguese, and French boutique fashion designs. And we turned my girlfriend and I turned our spare bedroom into a photo studio, which, let me take a minute and say, I do not recommend. Have you ever tried to get a 2-year-old to do anything? We got the photos, but I wouldn't wish that summer on anyone. So we created a website that was all personalized. Basically, it took some basic information from you and decided exactly what size your child was at any given time, and only showed you items that were in stock and in your child's size. Lots of personalization, beautiful website. We launched it, and 0 sales. Nobody gave a shit about our personalization. So we went back to the drawing board. We met with the investors. We spent about a month gathering all the data, and we basically said, look, here are the challenges. Here's what we're going to do to address them. Let's talk again in 3 months. So we reworked the product. We talked directly with customers. We relaunched the website. We stripped all the personalization out because nobody cared. And we relaunched the website, and 0 sales. All the numbers improved. We were right on the brink of breaking through, right? Just needed 1 sale to start that waterfall of sales. So we were at this critical point, which I think is a really central part of the entrepreneurial experience, which is, do I give up or do I persevere? And I have to give a lot of credit to my co-founder at the time, Ilya, because while I was kind of off in forever optimism land and thinking about how to pivot and spend the rest of the money that we had in the bank, because we still had quite a bit of money in the bank, he suggested that we go back to our pitch deck and go back through all the slides and look at all the core assumptions that we'd made, and when we stood in front of those investors and took their money, what did we tell them we were going to do? And so we did that. And this is the slide deck that I created to go into that meeting. This time we went in with a little bit of a different message. We said, here are the problems, here's how we've addressed them, here are the problems that we still have, and guess what? Here are our core assumptions that we set out with, and here's all the evidence why we were wrong. I was really nervous. We also said, we can continue to do this, or we can give you 60% of your money back. And all the investors were fine, actually. A couple of them were even delighted. They said, no one ever does this. They said, usually people come back to us when they need more money and they don't have a good reason. So I keep this slide on my desktop today because it reminds me to ask myself 2 critical questions when you come up against this key point in any startup, which is this challenge making me question my core assumptions, or is it just causing me pain? Because there's lots of pain in starting a company. And if I could start all over again, would I do this? I think it's really easy to get caught up in the excitement, to basically, want to break through. Everybody wants that Cinderella story. But sometimes the right answer is to give up and move on to the next thing, because the next thing could be great. That's it. Questions? Sure.
Hello.
Hey there. Thanks for
the
coming
next
out.
thing is,
I just had a quick question. In anticipation of your speaking here tonight, I actually went to Alavida and tried to figure out what the value proposition was. And the thing that they were telling me was, for $6,500, we can give you 8 Skype sessions. Can you kind of decide or shed some illumination on how you came to that price point and how you think it's a business model going forward?
sure. So at Alavida, we do things. Sorry, I didn't do a pitch on Alavida, so I might have to give a little bit of backstory here. So we do alcohol treatment in a totally different model. So you don't have to go through detox. You don't have to commit to abstinence. You set your goals for the program. It's with doctors and qualified therapists. The program is lighter and longer, over a 6-month duration on average. And the question was, how do we come to $6,500 and that value proposition? So we have specially trained addiction physicians on staff. We have therapists that are all master's level and trained in addictions. And we have a technology program that allows us to take people start to finish without ever having them enter a clinic. Part of that is daily access to our platform, which allows them to track their progress through the program. Everything I just said to you is pretty much inaccessible in any other form. So the value for what we provide is, I think it speaks for itself. Sure.
Thanks, Alex. One sec.
So are your investors currently investing in your new company? What happened when so your investors were really happy that you came back to them. Did you basically keep that investment? What happened after with your investors, I guess?
So the question was, did the investors from the previous company invest in this one? They would have, actually. They offered, that was part of the conversation. But it was a bit complicated because I moved here from Spain, and taking European investment in a Vancouver company wasn't my first choice. And we haven't had trouble with fundraising yet, thank God. So willing, but didn't need to.
Any other questions on this side? I have a question. You had a slide on there that said, don't drink your own Kool-Aid. But how do you keep yourself motivated without kind of giving yourself, a little bit of hype?
Well, I think on a day-to-day, you absolutely have to drink the Kool-Aid. That's the short answer. But I think there are key points when you really need to come back to grips of reality and go through, and it really helps if you set up the key factors that are going to point to your success early. So for us, sales is a really obvious one, but we had lots of KPIs that we were trying to hit along the way, and we clearly weren't hitting them. And only because we had set out with very clear goals, we had a 6-month plan that we were going to execute on, it made it easier to come back and have that discussion at the point that it was necessary. There's also, actually in preparation, totally serendipitous, but the latest Tim Ferriss podcast is on this subject, and it's amazing. It's a great podcast. Yeah. Good.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks, Elliot.